Good afternoon, everyone. Let's start the session with a prayer first. Ngalan ng Ama, ng Anak, Espiritu Santo. Amen. Diyos amang makapangyarihan, tulong ng Espiritu Santo at ng inyong anak na si Jesucristo, aming Panginoon. Tanggapin mo po sana ang aming pag-aalay na to ngayong hapon, katulad ng pagtanggap mo sa alay ni Abraham at ng alay ng aming Panginoong Jesucristo. Lord, bigyan mo kami ng discernment katulad ng discernment ni Daniel. Bigyan mo kami ng wisdom katulad ng wisdom ni Solomon. Lord, and we offer you tung session namin na to this afternoon, and Lord, our thoughts and prayers also sa mga biktima ng pandemya na nangyayari ngayon. Lord, yakapin mo po sila. Naway maramdaman nila ang iyong pagmamahal, aming Ama. Lord, all of this we offer sa ngalan ng Diyos, ng inyong anak na si Jesucristo, aming Panginoon. Amen, Lord. So, good afternoon, everyone. Again, my name is Nomer, your MindMaster. Well, I'm supposed to talk about the Getting Things Done by Tim Ferriss, but I realized I had to tweak, or I realized I would have to adjust yung talk because most of the techniques na itinuturo ko dati, medyo hindi na sila applicable ngayon sa current workplace natin or sa current working situation natin, kasi as you know naman, 'di ba, naka-work from home na tayo, and most of the techniques ng getting things done are designed para sa normal na office setting. So I will skip muna for now yung lesson for the getting things done, and I promise na next month I promise ko next month tailored fit na siya to the work from home situation or setting. But for this afternoon, well, excited pa rin ako for this afternoon because for this afternoon ang ituturo ko is about spiritual awakening na eh. And what is spiritual awakening? When share ko yung PowerPoint natin nung last time. So ang topic natin is the mind matrix, or yung suffering brought by our ego. Most of our suffering, we don't realize they're all coming from our ego. And what is that ego? The ego is the product of our evolutionary process when we were still, as you know naman sa Darwin, just a theory of ni Darwin na we are all animals in the past, and because of that, nagkaroon tayo ng defense mechanism or the animalistic behavior. But more of that later on. Pasadahan ko lang briefly yung ating framework. If you can remember, at level 1 is the world around you, no? It's when you live your life according to what the preachers or what the teachers or what our community, our government would tell us how to live our life. So at some point, nagkakaroon tayo ng spiritual awakening because of the suffering that we experience. And when we have that spiritual awakening, instantly ang gusto natin, we want to be in control with our life. So ang akala nung iba na kapag nagkakaroon ng spiritual awakening yung isang tao or nagiging enlightened, instantly, wow, ang ganda, parang yung mundo is full of unicorns and rainbows. But the real truth, or yung masakit na truth, there's still suffering even though meron ka ng spiritual awakening. Well, it is designed to be like that for you to keep on improving. And I will walk with you during this spiritual awakening. And i-review ko lang, no, paano nagkakaroon ng spiritual awakening ang isang tao. 80% of the time, we experience spiritual awakening when we experience suffering. No, when this body and this mind experience suffering, we want to wake up, we want to be in control again. And the other catalyst is the opening of the mind. Yung opening of the mind when you're just curious, no? So, hindi ko alam kung nasaan ka ngayon. Perhaps you are in a situation right now because we are in a trying times. Perhaps you are in a situation na medyo anxious ka or medyo worried ka about your future. Maybe it's high time na subukan mo yung spirituality. And I'm not even talking about religion. Maybe it's a high time that we get to have a spiritual awakening. And kung hindi ka naman nagsasuffer, good for you. I'll still take you on a journey to the spiritual awakening through the catalyst of opening of your mind. And this presentation this afternoon is designed para ma-open yung mind natin, no? And I will use the analogy of the famous movie Matrix. Ipi-play ko siya for you.
It is the world that has been pulled over your eyes to blind you from the truth. What truth? That you are a slave, Neo. Like everyone else, you were born into bondage, born into a prison that you cannot smell or taste or touch. A prison for your mind. Unfortunately, no one can be told what the Matrix is. You have to see it for yourself.
So, sa mga taong nakakakilala sa akin, even when I was younger, nung napanood ko yung Matrix, no, even though nung time na yun, hindi ko pa alam yung that the Matrix has a lot of symbology about spiritual awakening. Sobrang fascinated na talaga ako dun sa movie. So, allow me to use the analogy dun sa lessons ng Matrix about spiritual awakening. And how does the spiritual awakening start? It starts with answering the call. If you can remember, si Neo, yung bida, si Keanu Reeves, na-access niya yung Matrix kapag sinasagot niya yung telepono dun sa may phone booth. So that analogy is about answering the call. But before I proceed, I will invite you muna to have a parang mental exercise, no? Para ma-realize mo kung perhaps let's use our imagination and para ma-realize natin bakit ka nandito ngayon, bakit ka nandito sa work mo ngayon, and bakit merong mga konting problema, and bakit it's 50-50, 50% good, 50% bad, bakit may duality. I'll invite you muna to a simple mental exercise by Alan Watts, and we're gonna do that by having you. Oh, by the way, if you are watching this video and you are driving, syempre hindi ka pwede mag-participate dito because this will involve closing your eyes, no? And so, let's do that right now. And just siguro relax ka muna. Take a deep breath in. And slowly close your eyes. Now, as you close your eyes, I'm gonna count down from 10 to 0. Each second should make you more and more relaxed. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and 0, I invite you right now to imagine that every night when you go to sleep, you dream a complete life of any complete life na perfect. It's full of unicorns and rainbows, everything that is good. Perhaps you can imagine that you are in a paradise. And it's very blissful. In fact, you can see colors na hindi nag-exist dito sa earthly realm. Mas vivid yung colors, mas mabango yung paligid. In fact, you can imagine that you can be your own genie and you can make all your wishes come true. Every positive emotion, every pleasurable sensations, you're able to provide them for yourself. And kung may mga mas nai-imagine ka pa ng mga magagandang bagay na gusto mo ma-experience, I want you to imagine just that. You put a smile on your face. And then you get to do them again and again. Every day, the next night, you get to realize this dream every night. And the next night. And the next night. And the next night. Forever. And after a few nights of this, you'd say, well, ang cool neto, but let's mix it up a bit. Let's sprinkle some potential trouble. Just to keep things interesting. Put in some catalysts. Put in some problems. Put some chaos here and there. Konti lang. And since you are the genie of this dream life, intentionally, lagyan mo siya ng idea that you get to lose some of your control. Because after so many nights na nandito ka sa dream na to, where your dreams come true, the only way to continue to feel is to not necessarily know what's going to happen next, because it's now 50% blissful and 50% catalysts. And as your nights of dreaming progress, you're becoming more and more adventurous, take bigger and bigger risks, and then eventually, here's the fun part. You would choose to dream the exact life you're living now. Slowly open your eyes, look around you, and you are here. Welcome back. How's that? Kamusta yung experience? Imagine you're back here now, no? From a very blissful dream. Okay. Wow. Kung naaalala niyo yung Matrix na movie, akala ni Neo the life that he is living in is the reality, but in fact, it was all illusions pala, no? And kung naaalala niyo yung mga agents doon, it is a typology, no, or an analogy or dualism of the idea na yung mga agents are actually the ego, no? And yung Matrix is where they control, no, yung spaceship nila, kung naaalala niyo yung movie. Sana may nakaka-relate kayo, no? But if you haven't watched the movie, I invite you na panoorin siya tonight because nasa Netflix naman siya. And having said that, merong duality. It's the reality versus illusion. Ano ba yung idea ng reality and ng illusion? Kung maalala niyo sa Jeremiah 11:24, sabi ni God, "For I am your God, and my plans are to bless you or to prosper you and not to forsake you. My plans are to give you hopes and desires for the future." Napakaganda ng idea kasi si God, what He originally planned for us is all beauty. It's all beautiful. It's full of love and light, and that is the true birthright of our soul. And over thousands of years, because of our sin, because sin is also the ego, we forgot na about our birthright, no? Because of our ego nga, because of our sin. And right now we live in a dualistic life, no? But through spiritual awakening, perhaps we can come back to that idea again, or perhaps we can go back to that reality kung paano plinano ni Lord, kung paano plinano ni God yung buhay natin. And what is reality and illusion? Reality, illusion, soul versus ego. Please allow me to use this parang analogy, no? Reality is made of whatever that is the beautiful na ginawa ni God, and we perceive it as real also. But yung real world, no, is full of illusions, and it is driven by our ego. And our true birthright natin is just to see love and light. Okay, I'll discuss kung ano yung ego. Yung ego is the evolutionary process nung existence natin. Kung maalala nyo nga yung Darwinian theory, over a million of years, nag-evolve tayo as humans right now. And as humans, meron tayong tinatawag na defense mechanisms. And what are these defense mechanisms? Merong 4 na F. It's the fight, flight, freeze, and FCK response natin. When we are threatened, nagsasend yung ego natin ng signal to our brain, to our consciousness, to either fight or flight. To either maglabas ng adrenaline para lumaban, or maglabas din ng adrenaline para tumakbo. And we're not different from animals. Hindi pa masyado, no? Yan, may mga nagko-comment about fight or flight response. But we also have to realize that we are not that mind. We are not this body. Parang ang hirap i-grasp, no? Naaalala nyo yung unang-unang episode ko when I told you about you don't have a soul? Medyo na pa ganun yung ego natin, di ba? Wow, I don't have a soul pala. Parang ganun. Let me repeat that. You don't have a soul. But rather, consider that you are a soul. And this is fact. You are a soul. And you just happen to have this body. You just happen to have this mind. This egoic body and mind. If you are not the body and you are not the mind, then who are you? Who am I? You are the observer of your thoughts. You are the observer of this body. You are pure consciousness. So that is the soul. So, anong maganda about ego versus soul? Ego seeks to serve itself. Yung soul naman seeks to serve others. What do we choose? We service service to self or service to others? So ego seeks validation, outside recognition. Ano kaya yung iniisip ng ibang tao sa akin? Ano kaya yung nilalagay nilang label sa akin? While the soul seeks inner authenticity. The realization that I am enough. That ito yung mga na-reach actually ng mga mystics, ng mga Buddhists. That's why they meditate. That's why they go inward. So, ego seeks to preserve itself because kailangan niya nga protektahan yung kanyang identity. The soul naman seeks to preserve others because when you have a spiritual awakening, you will realize that you are one with others, that you are one with everything. Ito rin yung sinabi ni Christ before na hindi kaagad natin na-grasp yung concept. Akala natin napakababaw lang nung concept nung sinabi ni Christ na you remember yung nag-uusap sila ng mga disciples niya and sabi niya, nung kumatok ako sa pinto niyo, hindi niyo ako pinakain. And sabi ng mga disciples, Lord, hindi namin naaalala na kumatok ka. Hindi namin naaalala na kumatok ka para manghingi ng pagkain. Ang sabi sa kanila ni Jesus Christ, nung kumatok sa inyo yung kapwa nyo at hindi nyo pinakain, para hindi nyo na rin ako pinakain. Because si Jesus Christ is one with everyone. He's one with everything. He felt that connection. And si Jesus Christ he's seeing things from the lens of his Father. He's seeing things from the lens of God. Na connected siya with everyone, with everybody. So ego is mortal. Our soul is eternal. We are this eternal being having a temporary experience of being a human. Perhaps the reason you are here right now is katulad nung pinagawa kong exercise kanina, and you're just having this experience of someone working on a 9-to-5 job because you wanted this, you signed up for this. Consider for a moment that there was a previous lifetime where you were a soul, eternal soul, and you just happened to medyo siguro na bored ka for thousands of years of living a perfect life, and you're here right now. You chose to be here. No, if we have this parang ganitong klaseng realization, parang seemingly nagiging maliit yung mga problema natin. So, ego enjoys the prize. Ego enjoys the recognition. Ego enjoys the validation of and the adoration of others, while the soul enjoys the journey. And the soul enjoys the experience, the vast experiences, the limitless experiences. And ego will cause us pain always, no? And yung soul is about healing, is about expansion. The soul is about expansion of consciousness through experiences. Ito malungkot. Ego rejects God. Diba? Sabi nga sa Bible, trust not in your own understanding, but always pray that God will give you the grace of wisdom. But the soul embraces God. The soul is one with God. Bakit ko sinasabi palagi yung one with God? Because God is love and light. The two archetypes of God is love and light, love and wisdom, Light is wisdom, shedding some light. Consider for a moment if na si God is love, and if God is love and light, the two archetypes of God is love and light, and you came from God, then you are made out of the same archetypes of God. And that is your true nature. Also, love and light. And may mga nagtanong sa akin, what is knowledge? What is the difference between knowledge and wisdom in a spiritual context? No, I'm into modern spirituality right now, and maraming mga into spirituality right now. They always seek for knowledge, and nawawala yung, perhaps they're forgetting also the love for God. Hindi pwedeng mawala yung love for God, because yung love for God, no, ang purpose ng knowledge is for it, the purpose of knowledge is for it to point you in the direction of loving God. Allow that to sink in. The true purpose of knowledge is for it to point you to the direction of loving God. Because only when you love God, that knowledge becomes wisdom. Only when you love God, knowledge becomes wisdom. And that is love and light, light and love. Man and woman, man or woman, it's duality. It's the yin and yang. It's black and white. It's darkness and light, flesh and blood. That is the two archetypes of God, love and light. And that is also your birthright. Having said that God is love and light, you are love and light also. Your whole mandate in this lifetime is for you to love others, is for you to give wisdom to others, share your wisdom with others. That is also, marami nagtatanong sa akin, Nomer, ang dami ko ng knowledge about spirituality. Kuya Nomer, ang dami ko ng knowledge about astrology. Alam ko na yung law of attraction. Alam ko na yung how the universe works. Bakit meron pa rin akong suffering? And then I went to other spiritual coaches. I went to other masters. By the way, ayoko magpatawag na master because the label master is just, again, another label of the ego. Labels, limit learnings, no? Going back. Ang dami na daw nilang napuntahan. And palagi daw sinasabi sa kanila, practice self-love. Diba? How many times na nabasa ninyo that you should practice self-love? Parang ang gandang advice. Practice self-love. You know what? Practicing self-love is another concept of the ego. Consider for a moment, close your eyes and think, why do I think that I am worthy of receiving love? Consider for one moment, close your eyes. Isipin mo, bakit ka dapat deserving ng love? Perhaps some of you will say, I'm a good person. I love others, so I deserve to receive love back. And I'm sure marami ka pang naisip kung bakit dapat kang lovable. Lovable ako kasi ang gwapo ko, matalino ko, and then open your eyes. Siguro 90% of the time na naisip mo na deserving ka of self-love are actually concepts of the ego. Paano ko nasabi yun? You cannot practice self-love mainly because you are already love. Let that sink in. You cannot practice self-love because it is a concept of ego. So any concept na ma-create ng utak natin, si ego will take pride on that. Lovable ako kasi mabait ako, concept of the ego. Pride ng ego. Lovable ako kasi I'm a good person. Again, also a concept of the ego. Sabi nga in the Bible, we all failed. We all failed sa moral compass of our Creator. No? And we are saved because of grace. No? Not because of our good deeds, so that no one may boast. Sa Ephesians. Kung naaalala niyo yung Bible verse na yun, that you have been saved through faith, you have been saved because of grace through faith, and you did not earn this. You were not saved because of your good deeds, so that no one may boast. So every time we think of things that we are lovable, we are just boasting. Pino-fuel natin yung ego. Anong point ko rito? You cannot practice what you already are. You cannot practice self-love because you are love. You are it. And nakakalimutan natin to because, again, of the ego. And the ego is not an entity, ha? The ego is not an alter ego or another you. The ego is just a molecular machine that sometimes influences our consciousness. And the consciousness, again, is you, the soul. Wow, napapablabber ako. Medyo napapablabber ako. So, balik tayo dito sa presentation ko. So, ego is me, soul is we. Now, paano tayo makakaalis from the ego? Kung naaalala nyo sa concept ng neuro-linguistic programming, merong tinatawag na concept of anchoring. 'Di ba? Yung sa Pavlov. By the way, nag-send pala ako ng lecture notes, complimentary lecture notes for the Silva Mind Control at saka neuro-linguistic programming. Nag-send ako ng complimentary notes. And then by Monday, send ko rin yung sa Silva Mind Control. Now, going back. Sa concept ng neuro-linguistic programming, kung maaalala nyo, meron tayo doong concept na tinatawag na anchoring. And anchoring is based on the Pavlov classical conditioning, na yung kung maaalala nyo yung sa classical conditioning ni Pavlov na every time na papakainin nila yung aso, magre-ring sila ng bell. And over a period of time, pag ring pa lang nila ng bell, naglalaway na yung aso. Ayun yung tinatawag nilang doggy dinner bowl look. And guess what? Tayo din, as human beings, we've anchored our identity to stimulus or stimuli. And what are these three stimuli? We've anchored ourselves to our mind, to our body, and to our memories. What do I remember? Memories. What do I remember that I am? My experiences. The body, ano yung itsura ko? Yung mind, ano yung mga gusto ko? Ano yung mga paborito ko? And these are all stimuli. And ego is anchored dito sa tatlo na to. Sa tatlong stimuli na to. And how do we break out from the anchors? Ang paborito kong analogy dun sa Matrix, again, nung kausap ni Neo yung bata, ang sabi ng bata, realize that there is no spoon. Realize that it is not the spoon that is bending, it is you. And at the time, na-fascinate ako masyado doon. Sabi ko, I'm sure merong malalim na message to. And ano yung true message nun? The spoon again is our life, no? Realize that there is no this life full of illusions, reality versus illusions again. Realize that there is no life. Itong life na to is just an illusion. And for you to influence it, you have to go inward, no? From the inside out and not from the outside in. Realize that there is no spoon. Realize that you can bend the spoon through the power of your consciousness. Allow me to demonstrate for your entertainment. A spoon, a solid spoon. If I can realize that there's really no spoon, that ako lang yung nagbe-bend, perhaps I can do this. I'll bend it some more for you. See, it's still bending, oh. Thank you. Realize that there is no spoon. Realize that through the power of your consciousness, you can influence the world from the inside out. Ay, si Vit na. Now, ito yung na-realize ni Neo dun sa pinakadulo nung movie where he gets to influence yung bala. Meron na pala akong video dito na. Pwede ko ipa-play pala.
He is the one.
And yung pinaka-paborito kong part, when Neo realized that he's the one, and also the agents who are yung analogy or metaphorical symbol ng ego, they also realized that he is the one. Perhaps the movie is pointing us out to the direction that we also have that potentiality that we are the one. Ito yung sinasabi nila sa modern spirituality na Christ consciousness. Sometimes pag sinabi natin Christ consciousness, I'm not worthy to be Christ because He's God and I am not. Meron tayong ganong realization, di ba? Parang, I cannot be God. I cannot be just katulad ni Jesus Christ because He is God. He is the Son of God. But we are too. Perhaps ang sabi naman ni Christ is that tawag rito, I am God, worship me. Hindi niya sinabi yun. Ang sabi niya, I am God, follow me. He had the realization that He is one with God. Perhaps we can also remember that. Perhaps we also have the potentiality to remember that. And in fact, sa lahat ng naririnig nyo sa akin ngayon, you're not learning anything new. You're not learning anything new from me. You are just remembering. Remember why you are here. Are you here to serve yourself? Or are you here to serve others? Be one with everyone. Be one with everybody. Be one with everything. Um, to drive my point, or to end my presentation, what does it really mean to be free? Free from suffering. It means the ability to choose your preference in every moment without being overwhelmed and overpowered with the patterns and programs of this mind. It means being able to live from your chosen state of being, of being love and light, being able to experience whatever life throws at you without being swayed by it, without forgetting who you are, who you truly are. To know that you are the one. You are the universal self, which is already free and expressing that freedom. That by being you is to know that you are at the core of your freedom and joy. To live from the natural state of existence is blissful. To see life the way that it truly is. To see yourself through the eyes of God. To love yourself. To be the creator of your reality. To be exactly the person that you want to be. And that, my friend, is freedom. That is how you break out of the suffering. That is how you break out of the suffering that ego brought you. And that ends my presentation. I'll entertain some questions kung meron po kayo. Tama, soul purpose from Miss Mitch. We are one with God. That is our birthright. Perhaps nakalimutan natin. And kung walang questions, I hate to leave you, but I will leave you with love and light of the one infinite creator. Love and light to you guys. Be blessed. Good afternoon. Minutes lang ba? Kung wala na, pwede na siguro ako mag-leave.